So the following is just a quick overview of the 60-day comparison report from a rig perspective. So what we do is we take the last 60 days of drilling, and we then compare that over the same period of last year. And we put them side by side, and then we subtract these two numbers, and ultimately we get the spread. So what's the difference? And then so this is the summary page, and then over here we give you the drilling from the last 60 days, so we can come in here and drill down on the data if we want to. So some of the things that we look at from a spread perspective is, well, first we'll look at this column, largest, who's drilling the most. So I can see Husky's drilling the most, and compared to last year they're up 7. I can come over here to my master data set and type in Husky, and then when we take a look at Husky, say, there we go. Now we get to see, hey, where are they? So we got some rigs up in Bonnyville, Precision, a couple of rigs up in Bonnyville, Drayton Valley, and Grand Prairie up by Robin Height. There's a couple of rigs there, and then the majority of it down here in the Lloydminster area. And there's all the areas that they're doing, and then here's the field. So pretty good idea. We also consolidate the well licenses into pads, so we get an idea if they're drilling on pads here or if they are just kind of standalone wells that they're drilling on that side of it. Then you could take a look at what type of well it is, so on and so forth. So pretty good data set, or a great data set for you to go in and evaluate closer. We can come over here on the spread, and so that's kind of who's drilled the most. Let's do a comparison to what it was in 2019. Well, Suncor not drilled the most, but had the most rigs up and operational. So Suncor had 20, Crescent Point had 18, so they're down 4. Tourmaline had 16, they're down 6. And then over here is our graph, so we can get a visual on that side of it. Some of the things I like to do is come in and say, okay, I want to take a look at what's the largest spread, so who's drilling more than before. And so we could come in, and then I can just come down here and say, okay, give me the torque information. Come to the master data, and then specifically look at torque. So we've got one rig up in Niton Junction drilling, and then we've got this group of rigs here, total of 8 rigs up in the Estevan area. So it gives you a pretty good idea of what they're doing from a drilling perspective. We can also look at it reverse. I could come over here and I could say, hey, I'm interested in looking at the master data, and then we can go by kind of region, and I could say, well, I'm interested in Drayton Valley, and then we can look at it and say, okay, here are the accounts that are drilling in the Drayton Valley area, and then so I could come over and say, well, I'm interested in Takwa, and again, so I could just drill down onto it. There's Taka. And then there's the one rig in Taka, and then I could come back over here and I could say, well, I want to see what that looks like on how they rank compared to last year. Control F for control find, and then I just say, hey, I want to find Taka. There they are. So they have a total of 4 rigs up and operational. And when we look at it, so they've got the one in the Drayton Valley. So I might come back, expand my view, and so I've got Taka. I can say, hey, let's see what they're doing in Grand Prairie and in Red Deer. So there's our 4 rigs. We can see where they are, what field. So we got a couple in the Pembina field, and then we've got Kakwa and Ferrier, and there's the rigs that are up and operational for Taka. So that's just a quick overview, being able to come back and forth, use the data. One last one that I'll show you that I like is, I say in 2019, they didn't drill any wells, or they didn't have, sorry, not drill any wells, they didn't have any rigs running for them over the winter drilling program. And then we can take a look at it and say, okay, well, here are guys that are busier than where they were before. And then if I want to know a little bit more about the account, I can come back over here and I can say, hey, show me what is going on with Ridgeback. And there's Ridgeback Resources, and then take a look at the areas that they happen to be drilling in. So pretty good summary of what we can do here with the drilling reports, the 60-day comparison.